or take the praise for what it is, or understand that, okay, if I do this, it's gonna be more trouble than it's worth.
That's right.
You know, so a moment of instant gratification.
Comedy Jam 25. It's good to see so many funny people together in one room, all wondering the same thing. Is Katt Williams gonna show up?
I'm nervous as hell right now. Samuel Jackson. We was in Portofino, we finished dinner one time. We walking back to go get on this boat. Hey, you're Samuel Jackson, I want to take a picture.
Samuel L. Jackson might be one of Hollywood's most legendary figures, but even has hinted that there's something dark chasing Katt Williams. The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. That iconic line from Pulp Fiction hits different now, almost like Samuel was trying to send a warning. Could he have been hinting at the same powerful forces Katt's been calling out, people like Steve Harvey, Kevin Hart, or even Diddy? Was there ever a time when Samuel Jackson exposed who might have tried to silence Katt Williams? And did anyone even listen? Because let's be real, when Samuel said, "Some of us are against the Illuminati, and we are against the Illuminati at our own detriment," he wasn't joking. That statement alone sent shockwaves through the industry. So now people are wondering, was there really a hit put out on Katt Williams? And if so, who's pulling the strings behind the curtain? Jay-Z? Did his so-called masters? Or someone even more dangerous that we don't see coming? Katt once said, "I used to be a fighter, and I still got hands. They slow."
I'm just going to go ahead and announce my retirement from stand-up. I'm kind of done.
But if you get up on me real close, I can still knock your monkey a asterisk out. It was funny, sure, but it also sounded like a man who's constantly ready for battle. Katt's always been the fearless truth-teller, the guy who doesn't bite his tongue for anyone. But lately, his comedy isn't what's making headlines. It's his fear, his breakdowns, his tears, his warnings about people trying to take him down. From explosive feuds with other comedians to cryptic interviews that sound more like confessions, Katt's been dropping clues for years. He's hinted that there are forces in Hollywood far darker than we think. People who control careers, silence truth-tellers, and erase anyone who steps out of line. And now, fans are starting to wonder, has Katt Williams been fighting for his life this whole time, while the rest of Hollywood looked the other way? So what exactly is going on? Katt Williams has never been one to run from controversy. In fact, he's built a career out of calling it out. But things took a darker, more dangerous turn when whispers started spreading that someone had actually put a hit on him. Yeah, a hit. Could it really be true that someone wanted Katt Williams gone for good? And if so, why? Well, insiders are pointing fingers at Jay-Z, claiming the mogul had every reason to want Katt silenced. Who's gonna turn down $50 million? Katt once said,
I'm just going to go ahead and announce my retirement from stand-up. I'm kind of done.
"I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times just to protect my integrity." That's not just a quote, that's a confession. Katt hinted that the money came with strings attached, dark ones. And ever since he refused that deal, things in his life took a strange and dangerous turn. One that made people wonder if he was being punished for saying no to Hollywood's unspoken rules. In 2016, Katt's home was broken into. Valuables were stolen, and the timing was too perfect. The burglary came just days after Katt publicly slammed the industry's elite, and fans couldn't help but ask, was this just robbery or message? Because after that, everything spiraled. Katt started showing up in headlines for all the wrong reasons. Fights, arrests, and bizarre altercations that always seemed to happen after he said something controversial. He kept insisting he was being set up, but few believed him. And then came the moment that truly shook his fans, the retirement video. In that clip, Katt looked defeated, eyes swollen, voice breaking, and spirit crushed. He tearfully told his supporters that he couldn't keep performing, that the pressure and the danger were too much to bear. That wasn't a comedian cracking jokes. That was a man breaking down on camera, a man who had been warning us all along that Hollywood's game comes with a deadly price. In any case, beyond his home being attacked, Katt Williams has spent years dodging more than just industry shade. He's been fighting the system itself. The man's been arrested so many times it's hard to keep count. According to internet reports, the number sits around 17. But in a recent Club Shay Shay interview, Katt dropped the real bomb. It's closer to 30. 30 arrests. And everyone, he claims, was part of a bigger plan to silence him. Because according to Katt, these weren't random run-ins. They were warnings. His first high-profile arrest came back in November 2006, when he was detained at Lax for carrying a concealed firearm. Now, he pled guilty and only got a $250 fine and 3 years probation. Pretty light, right? But that was just the beginning. What followed wasn't just bad luck.
I don't take any of it personally. I just understand that there are prices you have to pay for stuff.
It was a pattern, a story that started looking less like coincidence and more like a campaign. 3 years later, in 2009, Katt was caught up in another wild situation, this time in a Walmart parking lot. Police found firearms in his car, but no charges were filed. Still, Katt called it exactly what he felt it was, a witch hunt. He said authorities were desperate to find something, anything, to pin on him. And he wasn't wrong, because just a month later, things got even crazier. In Atlanta, Katt was accused of breaking into a home and stealing $3,500 worth of jewelry and collectible coins. Let that sink in. Katt Williams, millionaire comedian, stealing coins? The story didn't add up. He denied it completely, but still got slapped with burglary and trespassing charges. He bailed out on $40,000, but the message was clear. Someone wanted him in cuffs. The chaos didn't stop there. In June 2011, Katt was arrested again in Los Angeles after an altercation with a man on a tractor near his property. The man claimed Katt and 3 women attacked him, and Katt had to post $50,000 bail to walk free. Then came 2012, the year everything blew up. Katt allegedly attacked a man with a bottle on his tour bus in Oakland, and before anyone could blink, he was arrested 3 more times at December alone. It was like every week brought a new headline, and a new reason to believe that somebody, somewhere, wanted Katt Williams out of the picture. One of the wildest and most notorious moments in Katt Williams' saga went down in Seattle, where he got caught up in a bar fight that instantly made headlines. But that was just the beginning of the chaos. Days later, he was arrested again, this time in Dunnigan, California, after reportedly evading police while driving erratically. And just when you thought the month couldn't get any worse, boom, arrest number 3.
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up.
Authorities charge him with child endangerment after finding guns and marijuana in his home. The charges were later dropped, but the damage to his reputation was already done. Still, the roller coaster kept spinning. In 2014, Katt found himself in trouble once again, this time alongside none other than former Death Row CEO Suge Knight. The two were accused of snatching a camera from a paparazzi photographer. While the headlines went crazy, Katt avoided jail by taking probation and anger management classes. But by 2016, things got even darker. That year alone, he was arrested 4 times for violent altercations, including one where he allegedly hurled a salt shaker at a restaurant manager. And the chaos didn't stop there.
And you'll never have a hater that's doing better than you. Don't get off the wall to dress some pity any boy who ain't got going for his.
Another 2016 incident saw Katt accused of criminal damage, and by 2018, he was back in the headlines after getting arrested during an argument over a dog. It was like every few months, the system had his number on speed dial. Yet through all this, one fact stands out. Despite all those arrests, Katt Williams has never been convicted of felony. He has spent nights behind bars, sure, but never once has a court labeled him a criminal. In interview after interview, Katt has said the same thing. These aren't accidents. He insists they are misunderstandings, setups, and targeted attacks designed to break him down and ruin his career. During his 2024 appearance on the We D podcast, he opened up about that 2014 incident with Suge Knight, claiming it all spiraled because a photographer was snapping pics of Suge's kids, something Katt called a clear invasion of privacy. But just as Katt tried to move forward, Jaguar Wright threw gasoline on the fire. In a recent bombshell interview, she claimed Jay-Z has been pulling the strings behind the scenes, using his power and money to silence anyone bold enough to tell the truth. And according to Jaguar, Katt Williams isn't just another loud comedian. He's a man who flew too close to the industry's darkest secrets, and now He's paying the price. Would you like me to continue with the next part, where Jaguar's allegations against Jay-Z explode online, and fans start connecting the dot between Katt's arrests and the so-called industry purge? The idea that Jay-Z, or someone deep inside his circle, might have targeted Katt Williams for knowing too much doesn't sound far-fetched when you consider the level of power these Hollywood giants really have. These are men who move mountains in silence, and if they see someone as a threat, history shows they don't play nice.
Ask you this, when have you ever seen this many heavy hitters all together at the same time?
But here's where things take a surprising twist. Where does Samuel L. Jackson fit into all this? Could he have been trying to warn Katt all along before things went too far? Because according to some reports, Jay-Z might not be the only A-lister allegedly trying to keep Katt quiet. Samuel L. Jackson once hinted that Steve Harvey himself might have motives that aren't so friendly. And when you dig into their history, it starts making sense. Katt and Steve's beef didn't start yesterday. It's been brewing for years, filled with public roasts, slick shade, and open humiliation. And let's be real, if you've been keeping score between these two, fans say Katt's been winning this war with ease. His jabs are sharp, his jokes cut deep, and he never misses an opportunity to call Steve out. But don't count Uncle Steve out just yet. He's thrown some serious punches of his own, firing back with subtle digs and slick responses that only someone with decades in the game could pull off. Still, if Samuel L. Jackson's alleged warnings hold any weight, this rivalry might not just be comedy beef, it could be something much bigger. Something that points to hidden alliances, industry loyalty, and a system that doesn't like rebels who refuse to fall in line. But here's the thing, most people think this whole beef started after that Club Shay Shay interview. According to Samuel L. Jackson, though, it actually goes way further back. The real tension, he claims, started brewing years ago, all the way at the 2017 Def Comedy Jam reunion. That's when the cracks first started to show. Jackson said the moment everything shifted was when Dave Chappelle started giving Katt Williams his flowers live on stage. Everyone was vibing, clapping, laughing. Even Katt cracked a smile. But one person wasn't laughing, Steve Harvey. Witnesses say he looked tight, like he couldn't stand the idea of someone else soaking up the spotlight. The crowd was showing love to Katt, and you could practically see Steve's ego twitching in real time. That's when he tried to redirect the moment, cutting in with a nervous joke, saying, "Man, I'm nervous as hell right now." But Dave wasn't letting him steal the shine. He kept talking about Katt, giving credit where it was due, and that's when Steve interrupted again, visibly frustrated, trying to pull the attention back to himself. It wasn't just playful banter. People there said you could feel the tension in the room shift. What started as a celebration turned into a quiet power struggle between two comedy heavyweights, and that was just the beginning. In that same room, Steve was once again trying to divert the attention, and maybe fans didn't notice it, but the industry definitely did. Insiders, including Samuel L. Jackson himself, were reportedly disappointed. They felt Katt deserved that moment, even if he wasn't on stage, because his contribution to comedy was undeniable. For Steve to interrupt that recognition, it came off as petty and low. Many said Steve could have easily acknowledged Katt's legacy before making it about himself, but instead, he snatched the spotlight mid-glow and did it awkwardly. His timing was off, his delivery clumsy, and the whole thing made him look jealous of the attention Katt was getting. And it wasn't just Steve acting funny. Fans noticed Cedric the Entertainer, another comedy legend, started playing defense too. During Chappelle's tribute, Cedric was seen nervously laughing, almost like he wanted the speech to hurry up. Then when Steve jumped in, Cedric immediately backed him up, saying, "Yeah," like he was co-signing the move to shift the focus. Cedric even tried to lighten the moment with a joke about how rare it was to see so many comedy heavyweights in one room, but insiders saw right through it. They felt Cedric could have at least pretended to celebrate Katt instead of helping bury the moment. And here's the wild part. This all went down in 2017, years before Katt openly called both of them out on Club Shay Shay. So the question is, why would Steve Harvey and Cedric the Entertainer act this way toward Katt Williams in the first place? According to Samuel L. Jackson, it's simple. They were terrified of him. Not physically, but professionally. Katt's raw, unfiltered energy and pure comedic genius threatened their image. You can see it clear as day if you rewatch that definite Comedy Jam 25 moment. Steve even says, "I'm terrified," and it wasn't just a joke. Deep down, he knew Katt had the potential to outshine him, and he couldn't handle it. Word on the street is, Steve Harvey wasn't just being coy. He was shook. Samuel L. Jackson allegedly spilled that both Steve and Cedric had been running scared for years because, well, Katt's simply a better comedian. And Katt didn't hold back either. During his sit-down with Shannon Sharpe, he fired direct shots at both of them, even revealing a long-forgotten showdown that went down years ago, a comedy clash where he and Steve faced off on stage. And spoiler alert, Katt came out on top. That so-called comedy championship back in 2008 wasn't supposed to be a battle, but Katt turned it into one after getting fed up with Steve's antics. He roasted Steve so bad, the crowd was in tears. Katt joked about Steve being bald under that infamous man unit, exposing the truth behind a perfect high-top fade that had black men across America running to barbers trying to copy it. At the time, no one knew Steve's hair was manufactured perfection. His fade was his crown, his confidence, his TV identity. And when Katt came for that hair, it wasn't just comedy, it was an ego assassination, including how Kevin's rise didn't quite add up. Katt pointed out that within just his first year in L.A., Kevin had already landed a network sitcom and a lead role in Soul Plane, a move Katt said had never happened before or since for any comedian. To him, that wasn't luck or hustle, that was orchestration. He called Kevin an industry plant, suggesting his success was handed to him by the same powerful hands that blacklist those who refused to play along. Katt didn't stop there. He doubled down, saying, "What do you think a plant is?" Driving the point home that some stars don't rise naturally. They are grown in labs built on deals, secrets, and silence. And when you look at how quickly Kevin became Hollywood's go-to funny man while other seasoned comedians like Katt got pushed out, you start to see why the theory caught fire. The tension between the two actually started long before the podcast drama. Back in 2008, when Katt had to turn down a role in Fool's Gold due to legal issues, Kevin stepped in to take the part. What might have been a harmless career move for Kevin ended up being the spark that lit years of quiet resentment. From that point on, Katt saw Kevin's success as proof of how easily Hollywood replaces those who refuse to conform. But Katt's criticism wasn't just about Kevin. It was about the machine that made him. He warned that when power, money, and influence are in play, honesty becomes optional. The industry, he claimed, rewards obedience, not talent. And when someone like Katt calls that out publicly, the system strikes back. Whether through canceled shows, media smear campaigns, or mental health rumors, it finds a way to silence the truth-tellers. And that's where the conspiracy deepens. Katt's name has popped up alongside Diddy, Jay-Z, Steve Harvey, and now Kevin Hart, not because it's picking fights, but because there's a one connecting dots others are too afraid to see. According to Samuel L. Jackson, what's happening to Katt isn't random. It's a coordinated effort to keep certain stories buried. And if Katt's right, the laughter we see on stage might just be a cover for something much darker behind the scenes. Satan creates doubt. That's his only power. That's how Katt shut it down when people tried to call him bitter or paranoid. He said what he's doing isn't about jealousy. It's about truth. In his words, if you're exposing darkness, you can't be afraid of who lives in the shadows. And when you look at the names tied to his stories, Jay-Z, Diddy, Steve Harvey, Kevin Hart, you start realizing Katt isn't just picking random targets. He's pointing at the system itself. He warned that the industry protects its favorites while crucifying anyone who doesn't play along. He said, if you don't sell your soul, they'll sell your story, meaning if you don't comply, they'll rewrite who you are to the public. And that's exactly what he claims happened to him. Media spin, mugshots, and smear campaigns designed to make him look unstable instead of outspoken. Still, Katt refuses to back down. He's been locked up, blackballed, and branded crazy, yet somehow he's still standing, sharper, funnier, and more dangerous than ever. Fans call him the last real comedian left, the one who won't trade truth for clout. And that's what makes him such a threat to the Hollywood machine. At this point, Katt's story reads like a script, a man who chose integrity over influence and paid the price for it. But now, the tides are shifting. With podcasts, social media, and fans hungry for authenticity, Katt's truth is starting to spread faster than the industry can suppress it. And if even half of what he's saying is true, the people who laughed at him might soon realize the joke's not on Katt Williams, It's on Hollywood. Katt Williams once said, "Anything that includes blessings for my people, I'll do, but not if it costs my soul." And that's where things get dark. Because according to Katt, the number one job of anyone who has sold their soul in Hollywood is pretending they didn't. The Kevin Hart is an industry plant theory has been circulating for years, and it ties right into that strange Hollywood ritual, the one where male entertainers are allegedly pressured to wear a dress before they can truly level up. Now, Kevin had always been loud about protecting his brand and setting boundaries. He once proudly said, "You've got to know your limits." He swore he'd never put on a dress, and fans respected that. But just a year later, boom, there he was on SNL in full costume. The same man who once said never suddenly had a change of heart. Fans felt betrayed, calling him a sellout and accusing him of doing exactly what he swore he wouldn't. When Kevin was confronted, he tried to spin it. He said no one forces anyone in Hollywood to wear a dress, that it's a choice. He even compared himself to Martin Lawrence, Tyler Perry, and Jamie Foxx, saying they all did it by choice. But critics weren't buying it. They argued it wasn't about choice, it was about compliance. Because right after Kevin put on that dress, his career exploded. Suddenly, he was the highest paid comedian in the world. Almost like that choice came with a serious bonus check attached. Meanwhile, Katt's been side-eyeing Tyler Perry for years, too, calling him out for not putting others on and for the questionable messages in his movies. It's made some people wonder if Perry could also be part of that powerful circle watching Katt too closely. Add Jay-Z, Diddy, Steve Harvey, and Kevin Hart to that list, and suddenly Katt's not just fighting bad press, he's fighting an empire. Samuel L. Jackson's alleged warning might have been his way of saying, "Be careful, brother." Because Katt's recent emotional confession that he might not have much time left hit fans hard. Whether it's paranoia or prophecy, the danger feels real. Hollywood doesn't take kindly to rebels, especially ones who refuse to play by its rules. And if Katt Williams really does know what everyone else is too scared to say, he might be in more danger than ever.